Hello everyone, and this is Cameron, and today I'm going to be addressing some of the comments I received in a video I did a few days ago that talked about Crash Bandicoot talking in the Skylanders Academy show. And it's kind of a mixed bag, which I kind of expected, considering the subject. There's been a lot of people, calling names at other people who have these different opinions, there's people going at each other. It's kind of what I'm worried about is the whole, we all love Crash, yet we're having a go at each other over this character, and it shouldn't be the case. We should all, even though we may have different visions for the character, at the end of the day we still love Crash, right? And we're still a fan base. And basically what I want to address is some things I want to clear up on what I was saying in my video, because when I look back on the video there were so many things I could have done a lot better to explain myself a lot more clearly, and obviously see a balance where you could go, oh, okay, I kind of understand where you're coming from, even if you do disagree. So this is my chance of just explaining a few things of what I said that will make you understand me better. So someone mentioned in the comments saying, what's wrong with Australian? But first off, I didn't say there was anything wrong with Australians, but just to clear that up, there's nothing wrong with Crash having an Australian accent. It was just the way it was presented. Many people who are even Australian themselves mentioned in the comments that they even hated it because, well, it sounded like an American doing an Australian accent in poor taste, because some people found the voice in poor taste. Some people like it, some people are saying it makes them sound brave and adventurous, and if that's clicking for you, that's great. But for some people, obviously we've got to understand that Crash is a precious character, and like myself, he's pretty much been around all my life, and when something, even if it may seem just a little bit tired on the nose for some people, like, oh wait, why are you really complaining? Well, that's the thing, it's just those little things where we kind of go, oh, we don't see the reason why we needed to be changed. Although we're, some people can embrace change. It's sort of a good thing at times. But when it's just sort of like out of the blue, oh, we wasn't prepared for this, like we weren't expecting this. This is, because some people run through their heads on, oh, so this is going to be the Crash again in the future. And well, let me just explain that there. I feel like what we saw in Skylanders was sort of a test. There's actually two ways you could look at it. Number one is just because it's easier for the plot, to have Crash speak instead of having Aku Aku, and maybe the writers just preferred it if Crash just spoke to the Skylanders cast, just have the episode just centered on him, maybe they just wanted to go the easier route, or just, make it just simple for kids, like young kids who like Skylanders, just so they can understand, Crash and everything. That's one way they did it. And number two may have just been like, as I said, a dummy test, sort of like, okay, let's see how fans react if we give Crash a voice. How do you think we're going to take it? And well, I think they pretty much got their answer, and well, it's still inconclusive because, as I said, it's a mixed bag, and I don't know what they're going to take from that in future games, if they are going to embrace Crash with a voice. I mean, honestly, as I said, I dislike it. I wasn't a fan of it. That doesn't mean I totally hate the idea at all. As a matter of fact, I'm all for the idea of Crash Bandicoot having a voice. It could be kind of a neat trick, but this is a thing, as I mentioned in my previous video, it's the way it has to be done, the way it has to be executed. There are games where he does not speak at all until he gets attacked or something, and that's just like a wow, like an ouch sort of noise. He has obviously spoke before, like Pancakes and Crash of the Titans, and obviously we got that commercial, which I think most people just want to forget about that. And as I said, with Crash Bandicoot 1 with the uh-oh and everything, all that sort of stuff. But it's a thing, it's because he stayed silent for so long. Now being presented with a voice, it's going to be hard for people to sort of transition that, because in their own sort of way, if because people might have played the idea of, okay, Crash speaking, they came up with their own voice in his head, and if it's some, with that voice that totally contradicts of what the fans were imagining, it's going to obviously cause outrage for some. I just want people to sort of be civil about it, kind of course we live in a world where, not everyone's civil. There's some people, just be rash at some things, but I'm not saying any of you guys are. I'm just saying that's a majority sort of standpoint, because like with Crash, as I said, he's a very precious character, and people are going to react if something drastically changes. They just think what comes to their head, and we got swearing involved and all that sort of stuff. And so let's do a reverse, kind of like Spyro. His entire games he's had, he's spoken them. But what if suddenly, with this new incarnation, they just stripped his voice box? He did not speak anymore. For some fans, that's going to be an issue, because on the list of what makes Spyro awesome is his sort of bratty charm, with his sort of quirks and quips, with his attitude towards others, and that's one of the main reasons why Skylanders worked. So you got to understand, for us fans, it's sort of a lot to take in, like, oh, it's so exciting that we're getting Crash back, but then it's like, okay, so how are you going to do it? It's great he's coming back, but what are you gonna do? So, you know, it's kind of like a little bit of a list, and, you know, people are thinking, oh, we're just gonna have Crash how he was before, but it's like, oh no, we've got to change it up a little bit, you know, for a new generation to understand. And it's kind of a lot for some people to sort of handle, because, you know, they just kind of just want Crash back, you know, as his original state. You know, they're not ready for change just yet. But as I said, some people hate it, some people really love it. Me, I'm fairly in the middle. I wish I could have addressed that to you guys a lot better, just so you got where I was truly coming from. You know, I'm not totally against the idea of Crash speaking. You know, it's always neat trying a different thing, you know, going a different way. But it's how it's handled, you know, it's how it's done, it's how it's dealt with, you know, the execution. How does it come out on top? It was just, for me, for my case, I just wasn't personally drawn to it. And I think everyone else, you know, whether you like it or not, you still got to respect other people's opinions. Don't have a go at each other, don't clash, because at the end of the day, it's Crash Bandicoot. We all love him still, you know, even though we have different interpretations, we still love the character. You know, with things like this, there's not just one side you've got to choose. There's a lot of borders where some fans love it, some fans, yeah, like it, but some fans are like in the middle. And then some fans are like, yeah, I just like it, but then there's some fans who purely hate it. So you got to kind of look at it from a map point of view and just sort of understand where, you know, each side's coming from and everything like that. So guys, this has been Cameron. I hope you've enjoyed, and thanks for listening. Goodbye.